Hey there, what's up everybody? I'm Lance.
I'm Jeremy.
And we are Hard to Master, where we take a look at games that are hard to master, such as...
This is the Veiled Fate Tribunal expansion coming to Kickstarter on March 12th by IV Games or IV Studios.
Now, as you probably have already played Veiled Fate, because it's one of the best games that's come out in the last couple of years. It's a social deduction game from IV Game Studio. You now have the Tribunal expansion, which is going to add a couple of different modules to the base game and really add a lot of depth to this game. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over briefly what the different modules add, and then we'll share our thoughts on this really fantastic expansion to a fantastic game. So Jeremy, let's take an overhead look here and show you guys at home what you've got here with this one. And why don't you go over the different modules with this game?
Yeah, so in this expansion, everything you're seeing right here is a prototype that they sent us to take a look at because they know we love their games. And yeah, that's about all we can say is we love their games, so they sent this for us to look at. And this expansion comes with 3 different modules. There's Module 1, the Hadria module, then there's the Celestials Module 2, and Module 3 is the Servants module. In addition to that, it does have these adventure cards that you're seeing on the board, and we'll talk about what they do. And you also have a special deck of fate cards, which switch up the game quite a bit. And additional to that, there are some holographic or foiled demi cards that you can use to replace some of the ones that you had in your base game.
Because you know IV Studios does that. I mean, they top-notch component quality here.
Holo foil or...
Yeah.
But yeah, so in Module 1, Hadria, what you're going to do is you're trying to score your renown, but you need to be behind Hadria's renown marker. Now, it's going to move up when you smite people, and it's going to move down when she is in a zone that has a quest, and that quest is completed. Now, how she move? Well, she starts in the abyss, and instead of gaining a fate card when you move to the pools, she's going to let you take one of her cards. Now, they have the basic god actions that you can do, but you will gain this corruption. Now, it doesn't count for you as corruption until you play that card, and you can play one of those in addition to your 2 actions that you take. So, if somebody had been gotten smited and they're here, well, she's going to move up when you move that character. Whenever there's a character in her space, she's going to follow. That includes if they got portaled into a quest, she would follow them. Now, she will never go onto a quest card. So let's say Blue came over here and got in this quest. She would go outside of that quest into that region. Now, unless somebody moved out of that region, she's going to be in there to affect the quest when that quest is completed. And again, you're trying to smite people to move hers up, because if you're ahead of her, like right here on the board you see red, blue, and green are way ahead of her, they get eliminated from the game and cannot score in the end at all. Only the Demi's renown that is below her. If a quest is completed, that will lower her renown, and it will always be in the front of the row. It will never be behind any. That's Module 1. You can mix these modules all together. You can mix 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, and I've done it multiple different ways. The second module is more of an asymmetric module, because one character is going to get one of these 7 or 8 different Celestial cards. And for instance, right here, we have the Tormentor, which Lance just used. And the Tormentor is going to be a character that has no special setup, but some of them will. There are different gameplay rules. This one doesn't have a lot of gameplay rules. Now, the Sorcerer is going to have the most I've seen as far as gameplay rules and really switch up how you're playing. This one, for the Tormentor, basically you're going to start with a demi card, and one time during the game you can swap that out randomly for one out of the deck. That way, maybe people are boosting your renown up. You don't want to get caught, so you ditch that like Lance. I was
because
moving his character to the top, and he swapped it out so that he could get a new one, because the Tormentor wants their demi card to be the very last in the renown of all the demis, so that they can win instead of, you know, the highest.
Right.
The Sorcerer, what they want to do is you can only really move if a character, kind of like with Hadria. You can only move characters that are with the sorcerer, and whenever you do that, at the end of the game, they'll have their own special renown marker, and you want them in the same space. So these changes give a very good asymmetric change, because even though one player is playing with all these different rules and stuff, you tailor your game to hinder their win condition as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they do. There's several different ones. It tells you which player count. They're either 2 to 9 or 3 to 9. So we've played a few of them, and they're pretty neat. But they are going to up that complexity, especially for somebody that is controlling them. You want someone that knows the game well to control them, because they have a more really to manage on their own gameplay, while as you're just trying to play against them. Now, the last module, official module, is the Servants module. And you'll notice on the table there are 3 slightly larger minis, and those are the Servants. Now, they start in specific regions. The Water Dragon Invictus will start at the coast. The Scorpion Penance will start at the volcano. And the Feathered Beast Vesper will start at the canyons. And what they do is you can use this new god power to basically move them. Now, it doesn't cost any cards, but you are going to move them to the next clockwise or counterclockwise region that does not already have a servant. And you do get these new player aid cards, which have updated rules. So Transfiguration now costs 2 fate cards to use, and Influence just takes the action, not the additional card that it used to.
Here, let's get them a close-up picture of that real quick so you guys can see how that new god power there is at the bottom of the card.
So if I wanted to move Invictus and I use that as an action, I could move it here, or I could move it here. Now, if it was already here, I would have to skip over Vesper if I wanted to go that direction. Now, Invictus is going to really boost the game up, because that servant is going to give double the rewards of a quest when that quest is completed, not adventures though. So if it was in a region with a quest, then you're going to get double. So if it was 2 renown, now you get 4 renown, if that was how the vote turned out. If it's losing, it would go back.
Double punishments too.
And whenever Hadria is in that region, it is going to double up the smiting renown reward and double down the quest completion reward if she was in that region. Now, Vesper, we said, is a feathered beast, so if it's in that region, it's going to automatically add 2 feathers to that quest. And you can move these around to get to the region you want to complete. And Penance is going to do the opposite. It's a scorpion. It's going to add 2 scorpions to that region's vote automatically just for being in there. So you may need to move them out, but don't forget, you still need to play that card so that you can, or gain a card so that you can continue your turn. Now, in addition, like we said, there's these different adventure cards that you'll put onto the board in a less than 6-player game. And what they do is they give an additional 1 space that some Demi can do an adventure, gaining an immediate effect, as well as voting. And it will tell you they all add, I believe, 1 quest card that you will add to the voting pile. And then you'll give that Demi rewards like you would on a quest card. Now, if you cover it with a quest, that adventure is not available. It's only on the board, so that if a quest was not placed in that region, that adventure is now available, which gives you additional places on the board, so you don't have just empty spots on the board that didn't get a quest card. So it just gives you more spaces to go. Other than that, there are those special fate cards that honestly I have not used yet. It's the only thing in the box I have not used yet are the new fate cards. I've looked them over, read them all. There are some really cool things like negating a vote because you place that card in there. Things like that. Let's see what some more are. There's a face-up vote. You can, active player chooses 1 other player to add a fate card face-up to the vote pile. After that player adds their card, they should draw a replacement fate card from the deck. Another one is singles choice. When this card is revealed, the active player decides. So like I said, you put that card in there. If that card is revealed, well, they decide what the vote is. that active player decides whether it counts. So you can see what's already been revealed and then choose what you want. Doubles the choice. When this card is revealed, the active player decides whether it counts as 2 feathers or 2 scorpions. So you could really change the vote based on how those cards are coming out. So that's also in here. That's just an added bonus. As far as the campaign, what we've heard and what you might have seen on Instagram is there's a new city type castle miniature
really cool.
that will go in the middle that will have a spot to hold the cards and places to place the miniatures. There are also planned to be some metal miniatures for the new miniatures in the box. Does have a box insert, does have the foiled lid from the prototype, and again, everything could change. We're just playing with a pre-production prototype.
Make sure to check out the campaign link.
Another thing that they've released recently since the campaign that you might not know about is the Veiled Fate dice. I got this from their booth at Gen Con. If you have friends like I do that can't flip a coin, I'm great at flipping a coin. I'd do it all day if I could. It just feels good. But some of my friends can't, and it hits the table, and I don't want to dent my table either. So
it's a heavy coin.
There is a dice, and if you're good at rolling dice, you might have the fate to roll what you want. And if you don't, you might just roll poorly, and your fate's already decided before you play. But the dice is a great addition. They do have it on the website, I believe, right now, but it's probably in the campaign as well.
So there you go. That's what comes with this new expansion, the Tribunal expansion. And now we're going to share what we think about what this game adds. And I do want to throw it out there. We got to review Veiled Fate back in 2022 when it came out. And I think it was both in our top 10 of 2022, if I remember correctly. Pretty high up. And I'll go ahead and say it right now that Veiled Fate is my favorite IV game, IV Studios game, or whatever the verbiage is there, but it's my favorite from them. So that gives you an idea of where we're coming at when we're talking about this expansion as far as the base game, our thoughts on the base game. So that being said, I gotta say, I don't know that there's ever been a time where I've come across an expansion that doesn't add too much to the rules. Jeremy talked about that asymmetric module. That does add a little bit of complexity, but as far as the other modules go, I don't feel like they really add a whole lot of complexity to it. But do they add depth to this game? And it was already a pretty deep game to begin with. This game is insanely deep. I feel like there's so much I'm thinking about as I'm watching everything unfold in this game and really thinking through my moves. And it's not a brain burner because, you know, there's only so much you can do in this game. But I'm just constantly thinking of what everybody's doing and why they're doing what they're doing. Like, there's just so many thoughts going through my head as I play this game. It's nuts. This expansion just adds so much to this game for me that I don't know that I want to ever go back, quite honestly. I think I want to keep playing with these expansions because of how much depth they add to this game. It's incredibly good to me. So if I had to pick what expansion or what module I think I like the most out of all of this, I really like that Hadria module, because I feel like that's a constant tension to the game of knowing I've got to keep an eye on this.
It's a push and pull.
It's a push and pull.
It's a separate push and pull than your character.
Yes.
Because it's one that everybody's pushing and pulling, so you don't have to hide it.
Right.
You just don't want to seem like you're giving yourself away. Like I'm way up higher here, so I need to keep pushing her up.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was my number 8 of 2022. It's my favorite social deduction game.
Yeah.
Strategy deduction. And if you're someone like me that likes the more complex gaming, the expansion is going to take you to a new level. I love the base game as it is. But I may play it without. I'll definitely add something, whether it's the adventure cards or those new fate cards. I would add something to the base game because that complexity. I just gave you the rules of what's in here. It's not a whole lot. It does make it slightly more complex. But yes, you are going to be thinking of many more things of what's going on. So if you like a game where you're watching several things. It's funny because I keep messing with people picking their character, and I did it to Lance just now too, and he was like, "I gotta ditch this card. Jeremy's pushing me up to the top. I'm gonna lose." And then I had a pretty good idea what his second one was when he switched with the Tormentor. But you're definitely watching not only Hadria and how you can manage that, you've got to watch your character and how you don't give yourself away, but you got to be in the right spot to negate somebody else's win condition. But if you're too high, because even with these, if you're too high above Hadria, you can't lose it. You can't win anyway. Right. So you've got to balance so many things. And we just mixed it all in here, kind of blended it all up. And even throwing in these, how can I...
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, a major thing I like to do now is boost somebody to 12. You boost them to 12, you end the game early, and people may not be ready to complete where they're at.
Right.
If you can set yourself up with Hadria, hey, I'm the only one that's playing these cards, so I know I'm getting these extra actions, but I know for a fact I'm going to lose one, or I need to play this card so I know that I have the most, and I can lose one, I can slide right in and steal the win. And so you're definitely more alert and aware of what people are doing. There's not a module I don't like. I have not played all of the Celestials, but we have played with a few of them. And I mean, even that one, even if you're not the person, you play off of what they're doing and trying to negate their win condition enough that you feel like you're playing with them. You're not maybe in control of them and you don't have that win condition, but you're trying to stop somebody else's win condition.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not playing against that person, even in multiplayer games, if you're not playing against that person, they're going to steal the win from you because they win instead of you if they complete that. So yes, you need to have the most, but you also need to negate them. So you've got to balance that as well as balancing Hadria, as well as balancing how often if you touch your character at all, because you don't want to give yourself away, because if you give yourself away in this game, it's much easier.
It's hard to win.
For someone else to just whoop you. So, but you could accidentally boost somebody to 12, and that's funny too. So.
There's so much to like just even about the base game, but when you add in these different modules, guys, it really cranks up the fun level with this one, because there's just so many new things that you don't think about in the base game that you are having to think about with this in this game, and it's just so fun. It's just so many things to balance, like Jeremy's talking about. So I truly believe you can't go wrong with this expansion, because
if you like the base
you like the base game, if you like the base game, you can't go wrong with this expansion, because there's going to be a module that you find in this. There's going to be several modules, I believe, that you'll find that you like with this, and you'll just want to keep playing it with those modules and not go back to the base game. I think that's how you're going to probably feel with this.
And time-wise, it's going to be about the same length of time, because you're still taking those two actions. You still have to gain or play a card. And so it may be slightly longer just because
getting used to the new rules.
Yeah, but it's not going to add a whole bunch to the game, and so it's not going to be like something that's super long. It's still one of those games that you could play in about an hour and a half. If you have Module 3 with the servants and you use Invictus well, you could speed the game up quite a bit.
You could.
The last couple games, it's not even made it to the end of the age, because I boosted them up. I want to end on my terms, not their terms. So definitely, if you like Veiled Fate, definitely need to check this out.
Absolutely.
We like most of IV games anyways, but this one's real special because it was my first game to play of theirs before I got a chance to play Moonrakers, and this one was a solid game. I'm not a huge strategy or social deduction guy. I'll play it in the right setting. This one I can get out, and I've played it over and over and over the last few weeks, and I don't get tired of it.
And if maybe you're somebody out there who has no idea what Veiled Fate is, you can go ahead and click the eye in the top right corner and watch our review video on that game and get an idea of what the base game's all about. But there you have it, folks. That's what you got here with the Tribunal expansion. Again, it's coming to Kickstarter on March 12th. And there is a link down below in the description of this video if you want to check out the campaign page, the campaign preview page if it's before March 12th, or if it's after March 12th, then you can check out the campaign page and get all the details there. While you're down there, go ahead and leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about Veiled Fate, what you think about the Tribunal expansion, IV games, or just anything in general. If you got questions, leave them down there. We'll be happy to answer them for you as well. If you like this video, please, please, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified of all of our great new content. I'm Lance.
I'm Jeremy.
And we are Hard to Master, where we take a look at games that are hard to master. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.